Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Harbortown Golf Links for a very special video, one that you guys have been asking for a while, a Wesley What's in the Bag. We have Johnny Wunder that's going to walk through Wesley's bag putter to driver and give you guys some inside knowledge on why Wesley has those clubs in the bag. Plus, it's going to be spread over 3 days. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So let's get in the video, let's go find Wesley, and let's dive into his bag. Oh, look what we found. We found Johnny Wunder.
Hello, Georgie.
We're just going to kick it off with wedges. He has a pretty unique wedge set.
Well, he's got a really cool wedge setup. So he goes 50, 54, 58, and I think he goes 50, 10S, 54, like 12S or whatever the bounce is, and then 58 in the C. But his wedge, his lob wedge, he's the only person on the Callaway staff. They make him specifically for him that has a full face of grooves on his lob wedge. And one of the reasons why Wes uses the whole face around the greens. So he's not a sweet spot player when he's hitting shots. He likes to hit dead shots out of the toe, likes to utilize the heel. So he's a fun guy to study and watch because he uses the whole wedge, and the whole wedge is meant to be used. That's why he's got a full face of grooves. If you've seen one of our other staffers, the left-hander, had a full face of grooves for the very same reason. He uses the whole face, he knows he uses the whole face, and there's quite an advantage to it. If you're trying to hit it out of the toe and you have some grooves up there, why not have a little bit more control over the ball if you can? So actually having a full face of grooves for the normal player is actually not the worst idea, because very few amateur players hit it out of the middle around the greens. Yeah. But his wedge setup is just like a gapping. It's very tight gaps, and 12-yard gaps between his wedges, 50, 54, 58. So, and he's one of the best wedge players out here. So there you go.
Now we did the wedges, now onto the irons.
Let's talk about the irons. So his 6 through pitching wedge is the Apex Pro Double Dot, which I don't know if you guys follow golf very often, or Callaway. We have now the Apex TCB, which John Rahm plays and Xander plays and Sam Burns. The Apex Pro Double Dot is basically the older brother, father, older sibling of that iron. So it's kind of got the same DNA. Center of gravity properties are a little bit different. Wesley likes the old ones because they don't spin as much as the new ones do. So he stayed with the old ones. And then what he does, which is kind of cool, is his 5 iron's an Apex Pro and his 4 iron's a Rogue ST Pro. So his 4 iron's it's fast, it gets up in the air, and that helps him gap off of his hybrid. And then his 5 iron, because his 4 iron's so hot, he needed a kind of hot adjacent 5 iron, so he goes to the Apex Pro, which is a hollow body construction, more of like a player's distance iron, and the 5 iron, so that he can gap everything into his 6 iron. So it doesn't have these huge gaps where his 4 and 5 iron go forever, and the 6 iron goes like normal distance. Now they all kind of gel together. So, and I think your X100s in the iron.
Turkey Bacon Ranch.
X100s? X100s in his irons. I think he's had those in forever. And then pretty stock iron set. Like, it's a good, it does what it's supposed to do. It's just longer irons go up in the air, and his short irons are, controllable with some spin. And
we got what you would think of a below average ball striker. Needs a little game improvement for the upper clubs.
Yeah.
A little more player friendly all the way down. And then wedges in the bag that just need to be able to, you wouldn't advise many amateurs to use a lob wedge that I have, would you?
The one that you have, yeah, with a full face of grooves?
No, I'm talking about like with the 5 degrees of bounce.
No. I mean, his
3
lob
different
wedge
grinds on it.
Yeah, I mean, the lob wedge grind isn't something I would probably hand to most players, but the idea of having a full face of grooves, even on a conventional shape wedge, for all players makes sense. Absolutely. You should be able to use the whole face. Good wedge players, Sebi, Wesley, Rombo, all these guys, they use the whole face when they chip. And
so do average players, but
they don't try to.
Not on
but since average players don't hit the middle of the face as much as the pros do, having those extra grooves out there just gives you this one little extra piece of face that you can use, as opposed to just hitting these like dead spinners or dead no spinners, and the ball gets away from you. So out on tour they talk about, like, you always want the ball to be in your hand, which means that you always have control of your golf ball. Yeah. So anything that's going to help you keep the ball in your hand, you do it. So that's done through spin, loft, all that stuff. But that's the key. Is the ball's always supposed to be in your hand. It shouldn't be out of your control.
So Wesley's irons are the 2019 Apex Pros, only through the pitch and wedge, through the 6 iron. His 4 and 5 iron, as Johnny said, are a little bit different. But he has the Dynamic Gold S300 shafts with the IO mitt grips that he's had, honestly, for as long as I can remember. So those are his setups, and I know they're 2019s, but as good as he hits them, I would not change them at all. So in place of Johnny's in-depth analysis, we're gonna roll some B-roll. So let's go. I think he isn't flying the wall.
It's hard to. It's hard to. When you're this in the way, look at Fleener. It's just, he's a fly on the wall. He's not in the way. Look at you.
It's not wanted. embarrassed?
Am I?
Yeah.
Of you?
Yeah.
Embarrassed of you?
Yeah.
No.
And now the wand.
So this is new. I'm
New.
gonna ask you some questions.
New to
He's got
me,
the-
new to you.
Newish to me, yeah. Daytona with a double bend. So well, I'll tell you what I like. I like these putters. Like I putt with them myself because it sits into the ground. Like if you put it on the green,
Yep, it does.
It sits into the ground really nice. So like why?
So it like squares up the face. Like as soon as you put it down, it's like the club face is square.
It's-
just
yeah.
when it sits on the ground.
And it gives that nice look behind the ball. It looks like the ball, everything's flush. So why did you like this head and why the double bend?
Well, I don't know.
You
I
know?
just pulled it out of the bag, and
Yeah.
it has nice weighting to it. It feels a little bit heavier, kind of down on the bottom.
It's got a nice heavy hit to it.
Yes,
too,
and
which I
it does,
like,
and it feels solid and a little firmer strike. Even though like these, you see when the grooves get deep, the strike starts to feel a little bit softer and sounds a little more dead. But I feel like the little bit more weight helps the.
But also these grooves also help the ball stay tighter to the ground too.
We
So
get all that side. So I don't care about what it does tighter to the ground, technology and all that stuff.
just-
All I
just
care
for-
about, all I care about is the way it sounds and the way it feels.
All right, now we'll kick it over to Johnny to give you guys
Putter's like
to give you guys what you
thing, though.
actually want to hear.
So he's putted with a bunch of different styles, but putting for, especially on tour, is an emotional thing. Like some players like want to go on Quintec and find exactly the putter that they need to putt with no reference to feel or like what they instinctively are attracted to. Wesley's a feel player, so like he might put a putter down that on Quintec makes no sense, and all of a sudden the ball starts going into the hole. So that's why you'll see Wesley with different neck designs, different head designs. Like for an example, like in 2 weeks he might go to the bag and pick out like a blade putter or like a Toulon San Diego, for example, something like closer like what Taylor Gooch putts with, and like it and start making putts with it, and he might be successful with it. But he's like one of those guys that can kind of putt with anything. He just kind of gets a feeling about something and putts with it. So why is this one in the bag? Simply because he likes it. Like he just picked it up, he likes the way it looks, it sparks some creativity, and he likes how it feels. So it's in the bag, and it's a dope putt. Look at this thing. It's so awesome. These Daytonas are like of all the mounts that Odyssey's made, I think this is probably the coolest one we've made.
I agree. Look who we found again, day 2. Now we're into the woods. Hybrid 3-wood driver.
Hybrid 3, okay, so he's got a cool setup, and we talked a little bit about the irons and the gapping, so I'm going to start with the hybrid first. So he's in an older version of our Apex Pro hybrid that for him he likes, and some of our players are like UW players, some people like a 5-wood. Wesley likes a hybrid because of how he launches it, so he can hit it high, he can hit it low, and he likes to interact with the turf quite a bit, so it's a club that he can actually hit down on like an iron, and he's getting the ball flights in the proper spin. So I think that club goes anywhere between 240 and 250 in the air, so it gaps nicely off of the 4-iron. And then he is in a I think he's in a Rogue LS 3-wood, primarily out on tour. The 3-woods is like a T club. You don't see a lot of guys ripping 3-woods into par 5s anymore because the guys just hit it so far. So he prioritizes the tee shot, being able to hit a nice draw with the 3-wood off the tee more so than what it does out of the fairway. And then the cool thing about his driver, so he is in Rogue ST, Triple Diamond LS, same exact spec as of John Rahm. So if you go online on the World of Wunder website and see John Rahm's specs, you can literally match him apples to apples with Wesley's driver. It's the same exact setup, same cog, same rack glue, same length, same shaft, same everything. I think the only difference is the grip. So
nice.
I don't know why he does that. I'm sure there's a better version of a driver for him, but he likes it, and it's Wesley, and his brain works like in different ways. So that's it.
My guy.
You got it.
Here you go. You got a nugget? I'm currently playing the Chrome Soft X retail version, CS 2022 golf ball. So head to your local Dick's Sporting Goods or local pro. Actually, you know what? I prefer go to your local pro shop or order direct from CallawayGolf.com and stock up for a new season of golf.
You switch from the LS to just I think that it's a little
Yep.
more spinny ball.
It's a little spinnier, and I felt like my wedge game was suffering a little bit by having like really any inside of 100 yards because when I'm flight it down, I usually flight it down with a lot of spin, and so when that spin would get taken off, the ball flight would go a little bit higher. So I switched for wedges, and then around the greens, get a little more sauce, which everybody likes, especially myself.
Well, guys, that is a wrap from the What's in the Bag video. Hope you enjoyed seeing Wesley's 2022 bag makeup here on tour. Willie Miles on the bag, not in the bag, but on the bag.
Not in the bag.
Subscribe to the channel, like the video.
Like the video, comment, leave a comment, subscribe, all the above.
Thanks, Will.
Do it all.
See you.